Is there at the Rushmore Rumble? Is there like a crossbow class for guys like Jeremy?
That's real funny.
Who identify as whatever you can tell.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Is there a crossbow class at the?
No,
Rushmore?
seriously.
Yeah, seriously. The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Predator Camo.
Man, this one feels good, right? I know people have been looking at this picture over your shoulder for a while now. I think that was 2018, but we just, over the last, how many years, keep coming back to Predator Camo because it's been so damn good for us.
No doubt. I think we bought our first set off of Jen at the Archery Trade Show almost 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And Jen's still with the company, and the patterns have only improved since then. They actually were recently acquired within the past couple of years. We've had a chance this past year to go and meet with new ownership, talk about redesigning a lot of the old lines, plans for new patterns, all of the above. So really excited about what's to come, not only this coming year, but in years to come. There's a lot of good stuff coming from Predator.
Yeah, and I mean, for us, it's always been going back to that breakup pattern, right? That's the historic look, whether you're talking about the spring greens or brown deceptions or fall grays.
Yep.
I mean, that breakup is really what's been so powerful for us in a tree stand. And right now, they're letting anyone use the code HUNTR on the Predator Camo website and get 20% off any of the lines, including all the new stuff that dropped here in July.
Be the Predator.
And we're back.
Hey.
I don't know if my calculations are correct. We'll be right around the first of the year when we hit 300, I think.
That's cool. Never even saw it coming, huh?
Never even saw it coming. That's like 5+ years of podcasting, like hardcore. We talked about it a little bit with Robbie, I think, but
It doesn't seem like it, does it?
those 2 a day, or the 2 a week ones, those catch up. Because like we said, we're like, are we podcasting like every day? It's not every day, but it seems like there's a lot.
It's a commitment for sure, but it doesn't. On one hand, it doesn't feel like 5 years, or it feels like 5 years just flown by. But it's also like hard to remember not doing it.
Yeah. No, I mean it was January of 2021. So when we officially started.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's crazy to think that we're on the verge of January 2026.
Yeah. Well,
Nuts.
hey. We open new doors like every year, so it's like it never seems like and so this is not us. We're not anywhere near the end of it here. So excited about what I think next year has to hold for us, and yeah, there's still some stuff to get to this year. So
Do your part.
As we're getting rolling here, I'll thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast. Those are the three main platforms that we drop these episodes on every Tuesday and Thursday nights. If you've written us on Instagram DM or the website, those are the two that we check the most frequently. We have some HUNTR merch on our website, the wearehunter.com. A lot of you guys bought that stuff leading up to Christmas here. That's pretty cool. We'll continue to work on
Saw a bunch of orders yesterday.
New stuff for you guys coming into next year. Yep, that's been cool. Pete's been overtime trying to get that stuff out to you guys. In the meantime, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, on any of our partners' websites for a discount in some way, shape, or form. And other than that, here we go.
Here we go. We're recording this on the 9th. I don't know exactly when it's mid-December, I think, when this is airing. Before Christmas time frame. So still cold, still blustery, still deer season. But
still honestly, some strategy creeping back in here. We had it was interesting because we were maybe on, I know what it feels like to be, I mean, like, no offense, not to bring it up here, but like,
oh yeah, sure.
I've been on that end of it where I'm like, I haven't killed anything in 2 years or whatever. And so it's like, I was maybe in a little bit different place, like at the end of November, but it does seem like we both took, you and the boys killed some.
That's my hardest. That's the problem that I'm in right now. In fact, I was talking to somebody yesterday because this week is the final week of gun season in Pennsylvania even. And they were like, are you going to go? And I'm like, I don't really need to. Like, dude, we have so much meat right now. Like, freezers are busted at this point. Like, I just processed 2 deer this weekend, and so reloaded everything. So, yeah, I mean, I definitely want to go out and shoot something. And I still have on my docket the recurve buck. That's on my list.
Do your boys have Ohio tags? Would you guys be interested in doing the Doe Fest thing with us? That's a gun.
Yeah, maybe.
Gun thing. That's what we do generally as kids, to go out and sit in a spot. It'd be fun for you to come hunt the farm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because I'm just like, I don't know. Like they like I told you, they both killed their biggest buck this year. So they're content. They still want to hunt.
But they have Ohio tags.
They have Ohio tags. Yeah.
I think that's going to be January 3rd and 4th.
Okay. Yeah, let me know.
If you guys, I just did.
Oh, you just did?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds good.
It's the 3rd and 4th. I can invite you on the calendar, invite if you want to do that, but it's a weekend thing.
Yeah, be good.
It's fun because we get like 10, 12 people and they do all the process. We do all the processing right there. So
yeah,
it's a good way to do a little bit of work and come away with like a lot of meat if you need it.
Yeah, I don't, as of right now, that's what I was
Sounds like you don't, but.
We're going to Kentucky this weekend, and it's muzzleloader season, so I assume Emily will hunt, but I have my recurve. I've got a few bucks that I'm chasing with the recurve, and my neighbor, fortunately, was like, hey, I'll take a deer if you shoot one. So I'm like, great, because now that's kind of the excuse I need. I'm like, I don't really need the meat anymore now, so I'd rather, if somebody will take one, I'll shoot it.
For sure.
So that's kind of where we're at on that, but yeah, it's a strategy. It's going to be cold.
Well, Illinois is creeping in the brain there. We got a shooter.
Yeah, which, again, I'm hoping, we'll process it. I didn't take it, but it's like if somebody wants the meat, I'm happy to give them to them at that point, too.
It would be a lot of fun. Sorry, my mind was still on. We got a shooter in Illinois. It would be a lot of fun if we
Survivor.
If you and I could come out of there with a freaking another
stud.
Slammer.
Mm-hmm. So we're actually thinking about doing that right around the same time we're going to run into our guest today.
Yeah.
So we've got Jeff Poole from the Archery Trade Association on, CEO, Archery Trade Association. And so we've talked about this a little bit here over the last several podcasts and a couple of the Hunt Companions and stuff is, big thing for us at the beginning of January is ATA show. Has been for... Dude, I don't know. I can't. I want to say the first ATA show I went was in 2010 or 11, something like that. So it's been, God, that's 14 years. Minus the COVID year, basically.
I guess mine's been 2015.
Yeah, probably 14 or 15.
Going on 10 years, if not 10 years.
Yeah, and so that's always been a big attraction for us at the beginning of January is to go to. It's been Indianapolis. Louisville, Kentucky, Nashville a year. We're back in Indy this year. And the cool thing for this year we've mentioned is the Archery and Bow Hunting Super Show, which is essentially the first 2 days are going to be the ATA show. That's the 7th and 8th of January. And then... Which
basically is like industry only.
Industry only. That's when your buying groups are there, or your individual retail
manufacturers,
buyers.
Media.
Yep, exactly. And then all of those booths stay there, and it opens up to the public for the 9th and 10th.
That's awesome.
Yeah, which we've been talking about for a bunch of years.
Couple years.
And there's also the Rushmore Rumble, which is like the archery shoot that's going to be happening at the same time. They're doing a kid shoot for the S3DA. So there's just a whole bunch of cool stuff going on. And so we've been excited about it. And so we talked with ATA, and we've got Jeff on today to kind of just, talk about where that's at, what to look forward to here. Tickets are on sale now, type of thing. And yeah, hopefully a lot of people listening to this are, they're the hardcore bow hunting and archery guys. This is the beginning of the year show to be at, right? To see all the new product for 2026, to be able to shoot bows, to be able to purchase stuff from a lot of the vendors that are there. A lot of our partners are going to be there. Lone Wolf, Predator, Primos and Bushnell. Antler Creek's going to be there, Roger and Antler Creek. So it'll be cool just to, I don't know, feel like it's one of the first things of the year post-season, even though there's still some season left there, that we get to kind of hang out and see everybody and start the trade show season or start the consumer show season, however you want to look at it.
Yeah.
So anyways, let's bring in Jeff and get ripping.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me today.
Well, like you said, we always tell this to guests. We're like, hey, we're going to put you on mute. You'll be able to hear us and see us, but you're kind of off the board here while we lead in. But we try not to cover too much to where you're like, biting at the bit to start talking and engaging.
We'll get carried away sometimes.
Yeah, well, you gave a great lead in for the show. I mean, that's it in a nutshell.
Well, it's cool, man. And like I said before this, like for us, this is really a chance for us to get to know you and talk about the organization. Like I said there, I think I want to say it was 2010 or 2011 was my first ATA show. So it's crazy to look at, 14 or 15 years coming up on it. But I guess just for some background, maybe tell our listeners just your position and role at the Archery Trade Association.
Well, for the last 4 years, I've been the president and CEO, and it's been a ride on those 4 years. But one of the main things that we've really pointed to in that 4 years is firming up the trade show and adding to it, understanding and recognizing that trade shows aren't what they were.
Yeah.
Even 5 or 6 years ago, they continue to evolve. And I've really been able to call on my background and experience in working in trade shows and consumer shows for most of my adult life. I spent 30 years at the National Rifle Association. And when you spend 30 years in one place, you do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Right. So when I started there, they actually sent me out. I was in the membership area, and they actually sent me out to hunting and fishing shows all over the country to set up a booth, represent NRA, sell memberships, do member service.
I've seen that. I've seen that booth.
Yeah. And I couldn't believe how I stumbled into that job. I said, wait a minute, you're going to pay me to go around the country and attend these hunting and fishing shows all over the country.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really the start of it, and my first taste of a consumer show, a trade show, a hunting and fishing show from the exhibitor perspective.
Right.
And then through the years at NRA, being able to move over and actually manage and run the NRA show.
Mm-hmm.
And then when NRA acquired the Great American Outdoor Show,
yep,
which I was really the point person on that acquisition, and then ran that show for 7 or 8 years, and took it from where it was to where it is.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to bring these changes that we're talking about to ATA and the ATA show is something that's been years in the making. A lot of careful consideration going into it. But I am just as excited as I can be about the changes we have coming up, particularly the opportunities that it gives now to the end user,
mm-hmm.
The hunter, the shooter, to come in and see what those in the trade have been seeing for the last 20 years. I mean, it's a spectacle.
Yeah.
When everyone's there, the big trade show quality displays, carpeted aisles. I mean, there's a heck of a wow factor there.
Yeah, and I think that's what we've kind of been talking about the last few years, So you mentioned 4 years ago. So did you come in then right after COVID year? Was that the first year, or were you here for the first COVID year?
The first show I was at was 22, and that was the first year back.
Yep.
From COVID, January of 22.
Yeah, and I mean, just like any of the shows, consumer shows or trade shows, like, I've gone to SHOT Show for 10, 15 years as well. That first year back was like, it was a time of uncertainty, right? Like it was like, we don't know what this is going to look like. We don't know how many people are going to come back to it. We don't know what the future holds, just like a lot of people were after that year. But, for us, it was always, prior to the COVID stuff, coming to the ATA show and coming back. I remember feeling like when you stepped into those rooms, like, you're like, this is the industry, right? I'm in it. And it was that exclusivity kind of feeling because, not everybody could walk through those doors to be part of it.
Yeah. The community is the sense that you had there. Obviously everyone in the archery industry and bow hunters specifically are passionate.
Mm-hmm.
We are very passionate. And when you get them all together in one room, that sense of community there is like no other. So after COVID, when we were after 2 years of not having a show, being able to come back together again, even though I think everybody had COVID within a week of being at that show.
Yeah.
I for sure did.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, everybody was so happy with just having the opportunity to come back together.
Right.
They gladly took that risk.
Yeah. Well, and that's where, I think probably even before that, the discussion started to happen about like, should public come to this event and should it not? And I think, maybe even just for our listeners, Jeff, like, if we go back, even when I started coming to that ATA show, at that point, ATA was the premier event for most of the bow releases, right, from a flagship side. And also, like, a lot of that that time frame, they were writing a ton of deals at that show, and then I don't
call it like the 5-year leading. It'd be like 2015 to 2020.
Yeah, and then I think
is when you started to see that disconnect with the buying activity.
Well, and part of it was too, like, I don't remember. I talked to somebody about it at one point, and I don't remember if it was Matthews who's kind of started it, but at some point somebody basically said, "Hey, we're going to release our bow in November." Well, that like completely flipped the entire mindset of ATA, which was these flagships from these major companies, being launched in January. And now I think even like Prime maybe this year launched in October or something. Like, it's just it was a big change that came through.
And when one company made the decision to do that, it really pulled the other bow companies along.
They didn't have a choice.
They didn't want to give that much of a lead to their competition to where we are now, where most of the major bow releases are in that fall time frame, that October, November time frame. Now, I will say just a little shout out to Bowtech this year. They are releasing several flagship bows at the show this year, and we're excited about that.
Man, it used to be, I remember, it was probably one of the first ones you were at, and I think it was Bowtech. They had like their bow up there, and they had like chains wrapped around it, and it was like rattling up on the stage, and like it was a big spectacle,
a reveal
for these reveals to happen and stuff, and I get it, like we've changed a lot in the way that media is delivered and how people engage with that, but there's still kind of that excitement that happens when you walk onto the show floor, and even if a product's been released, just to see it for the first time, maybe even in person.
Well, it's true. And I don't want to waste an opportunity to blame COVID for something else, but that's really when we started seeing a pretty big shift in the order writing at the show, because there were 2 years there where there was no trade show. There were no buy group shows. So the industry had to find a way around that. At the same time, there was a huge spike in sales. COVID pushed everybody outside, and the outdoor industry just enjoyed a huge boon. So somehow the retailers figured out, the manufacturers figured out how to get the ordering cycle done without the buy group shows, without the trade shows. And even though it was a challenge and it was difficult, when these shows started back up again, there was an alternative buying route. And so it wasn't, the show wasn't the exclusive way to order your products throughout the year. As you said earlier, there's still a lot of order writing going on at the show. It's just no longer the only avenue to place your orders.
Jeff, is there more to ATA than, I don't mean just the show, but is the show, like, obviously that's the Super Bowl, like, every year that's the main event that you guys put on, but is there like year-round involvement that the Archery Trade organization is like involved in, or what's the full scope of the organization?
Yeah, great question, because that's even among our members, we have about 2,000 members, retailers and manufacturers. And the show has been such a huge premier event for the whole industry that many people think ATA just puts on a trade show. And it really goes well beyond that. Now, the trade show is our major source of funding.
Sure.
But when we look at the retailer side, I mean, let's face it, most guys opened their shop because they were passionate about bow hunting and archery.
Right.
They didn't open their shop because they were an expert in retail. So they had to learn the retail side of the business in order to make a living at it. And that's part of what ATA does for retailers, is on the education side and teaching them the business of retail. How to order, how to merchandise, teaching them about margins and inventory control and point of sale systems. And, there's a lot to the business beyond your passion.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. And I mean, I think most of us would understand, like, our passion being bow hunting or archery or something. It probably isn't necessarily being able to run a business, right? For some of us, it's how we make a living, and that's what we're used to. But for a lot of people, like, I know some fantastic bow techs, but they probably couldn't run a business if their life depended on it, right? So, they have to find that resource somewhere. And there's a lot of those tools online now, but my guess is it's probably pretty hard to like take what you're learning there and adapt it to, an outdoor industry type business, right? It's not like you're finding resources online from generic people on YouTube talking about, hey, here's how you run an archery pro shop.
Right, exactly. And our educational content is, of course, very, very specific to running an archery bow shop. So, and all of the different nuances that an archery retailer may encounter that a different type of retailer wouldn't. The whole industry is set up a little different. All industries are set up a little differently in terms of the distribution networks. So there's still a lot of manufacturers dealing directly with retailers. In other industries, the distributor plays a key role. Everything runs through a distributor. And there are certainly distributors in the archery industry, and they do play a key role. But for most of the archery shops, at least the sizable ones, they're dealing 90% through their direct relationships with the manufacturer. And that's where the trade show ties back in about establishing those relationships and working out terms and conditions with manufacturers so that they can order direct.
Jeff, where does that landscape, what does it seem like it's trending towards? In terms of just like the number of independent bow shops, let's call them, or just outdoor retailers. Is that something that, because the alternative obviously is would be online, like direct to consumer, purchasing. There's online distributors or retailers too, you could go through I don't know, Shields or
Midway,
even Amazon or something versus,
or Lancaster,
purchasing directly from the manufacturers, their website. Where do you see that kind of trending now as opposed to just maybe even a handful of years ago?
Well, among retailers, that is a very, very sensitive area.
Sure.
This direct to consumer channel that the internet presents and really makes it easy.
Right.
So where the niche for the retailer comes in is service and expertise.
Right.
We're in a business where it's difficult to buy a bow online and just take it out of the box and start using it. There's measurement, there's fit, there's accessories, there's some coaching that goes on in the whole setup of the bow. So to get the bow set up properly, nine guys out of 10 are having that done at a bow shop. So bows, arrows, other accessories that you want to be fitted for, that preserves that in-store business for retailers. They will be less dependent on product sales to make a living in the future. That's the change that we're under right now. The genie's are already out of the bottle in terms of internet sales and direct to consumers. So we're not going to stop that, but how do we modify our businesses to make sure that we can continue to make a living as an archery pro shop without 90% of our business being product sales?
Yeah.
Are there I'm sure there are other bigger or whatever more progressive industries, like golf comes to mind. When I think of pro shops, do you guys observe how those have changed over the years? And maybe you can point to another industry. Golf is the one that comes to mind where there's still thousands, if not tens of thousands of pro shops that are out there because of the custom fit model.
Yes, that's a really good observation. There are other industries that we do share a lot of similarities to, where the product needs to be sold and serviced through an expert. And I'll give you another example that we track pretty closely is bicycle shops.
Yeah.
You're going to try out a few bikes. You're going to be measured to fit for a bike. I'm not talking about just, strolling through the neighborhood, but these guys that are out, competitive cyclists, mountain bikers, what have you, they don't just jump on a bike. They're fitted. To it.
Yeah.
And so bike manufacturers have actually started to at least try to sell directly to the consumer, and then have the consumer bring the product in to an authorized bike shop, an authorized dealer, to get all the assembly, service, fit, and finish, to complete the sale. And we see some of that starting to trickle in, where a consumer might buy a bow, for example, from the manufacturer's website, or Lancaster or another distributor, but have to pick it up at the at the authorized dealer.
Right.
And that way the dealer can set the bow up and get paid to do that. The dealer has an opportunity to sell the accessories that go on the bow. And so when we look at the model changing or shifting, we're looking at some scenarios like that.
Yeah. To say ski snowboard is the other one.
Yeah.
You see a lot of the like ski and snowboard pro shops just to get fitted with the right boots and fits like that as well.
It's a really interesting situation that technology has put. Manufacturers are the ones that are in it, I guess, but also obviously the retailers are the ones who are impacted by it, where like, you can see from a margin standpoint, like that manufacturers are clearly incentivized to sell direct to consumer whenever they can. They're like, cut out the middleman, sure. But in the meantime, there's a huge value to all of those retailers and the custom fit people, and from a service perspective, that like they're irreplaceable there. So it's just interesting to like see the relationship and how it's changing, and everybody's trying to figure it out.
Well, the manufacturers are walking a tight line as well, because as you said, they if they can sell direct, the margins might look a little different for them. But if they're too involved in selling direct to consumer, then the retailer is going to move to their competitors and no longer stock their products. So it's a very sensitive relationship between manufacturers and retailers and the internet and distributors right now, and it's evolving. And it's one of the reasons that we started looking seriously at evolving the trade show as well, from just trade to a consumer part of the event as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I even look at like our bow partner is Hoyt, right? And we obviously go to our pro shop to get everything done, but it's like, even if I could buy a bow direct from Hoyt, if I don't set it up right, that bow's not going to shoot worth a crap, so the dependence from the manufacturer on some sort of service relationship, in this case, a pro shop, so that item performs like it should is critical, because otherwise, how many people, there's a name and ton of products out there where somebody buys it direct from the manufacturer, it doesn't work like it should, mainly because of user error. They didn't set it up correctly. They don't blame themselves, they blame the manufacturer. They're like, this thing's broken, it doesn't work right. And so very similar case here is like, if you don't set that bow up correctly and you're just constantly fishtailing and tearing left, whatever, you don't know how to actually tune it, then you're probably going to blame the bow company and be like, this thing doesn't work, it's not good.
Well, so and I'm not advocating like in any, I'm just like what I see is like, for a long time I always felt like, well, remember school shopping? It's like you'd go to the shoe store and you'd try on the shoes, and then you'd walk up and down the aisles.
Oh yeah,
and you'd be like, yep, this is the one.
This one fits good. Yeah,
size up or size down. Shoes were things that I thought you'd never buy online, but now. And I would say it's probably because of the like online retail experience, the fact that they're able to like customer service and return stuff is
policy,
so easy that it's pretty doable now. You see like technology from manufacturers getting to a point where, for the past couple of years now, Hoyt sent us our bows directly, and they've done some work for us there because we send them specs and stuff, and so you'd see like. Or can they have, and also on the consumer side of it, they have things like adjustability, like with this XTS system. It's like, whether it's me making the adjustment or somebody at the bow shop, because like I'm a guy that's going to look for an excuse to go to my bow shop just because I want to be there. I want to see those guys and
be in the community.
And I want to pay local guys to do the stuff for me, basically, But at a certain point, it's like, do I need to, or can Hoyt send me the thing and I can make a few micro adjustments and we're dialed, or does everybody shoot a crossbow at that point? It's just like there's no spec needed, just send it to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, I even look at most of the bow companies have a, whatever you want to call it, build a bow, right? Like where you go online, they've got a configurator, you build it. Now, most of the time, either that goes to the dealer or you take it to your pro shop and say, hey, this is what I want.
Set me up.
Right, set me up, build it, right? So, yeah, it's a very strong relationship between the pro shops and those bow manufacturers right now. You
Absolutely.
know, and there's like maybe like an unspoken trust factor there, you know, and that, hey, we trust you to do the best for our product. And that's why a lot of those pro shops, like a Hoyt dealer's not going to carry Matthews necessarily, or vice versa, right? There's not all the time, but there is some exclusivity in those relationships on some of those dealerships.
A lot of them, I don't know exactly how that works, but a lot of them carry, like ours, Ultimate Outdoors carries Matthews, Hoyt,
Elite.
Bowtech, those three for sure, and maybe some others.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's like a preference. Sorry,
the difference is not every bow shop carries every bow.
Right.
So if you're opening a bow shop, just because you open the doors doesn't mean Matthews and Hoyt and the rest of them are going to come rushing in your door, offering you a dealership. They make sure that there's some thresholds that need to be met by the dealer, that they can confidently have their products sold and serviced through you. And that presents sometimes a bit of a challenge, a little barrier to entry for some bow shops if they haven't already worked that out in advance with a couple of the brands. Then you can open your doors to a bow shop and be full of accessories and not have much in the way of bows because you're brand new, you're untested,
right?
You don't have the relationship yet, and more than one bow shop has found themselves in that situation.
Yeah, I'm sure.
HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Deer Grow.
Man, hard to believe, but Deer Grow has been the sponsor that's been there since the beginning of the HUNTR Podcast. Back in 2021, I think that they were the only partner that we had, but it's such a cornerstone brand and set of products for our food plot strategy throughout the year.
No doubt. And it seems like we used to have an off season, but not so much anymore. It's like when the hunting season ends, it really rolls right into food plot season, habitat projects, all of the above. And the Plot Start and Plot Boost have been there since the very beginning. That's a cornerstone for all of our plots. The Plot Start goes on at the beginning, Plot Boost goes on midway through. And since they came out with all of the fertilizers, that gets mixed in with the Plot Boost application as well. And I can't believe the results that we've been getting out of that.
Yeah, it's been awesome. Like I said, it's all the work now that really produces the results in the fall. So right now, anyone listening to HUNTR Podcast can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for 15% off any of the products at deergrow.com.
Better food plots, bigger deer. Jeff, do you guys, do you see yourself or like ATA being a part of like any kind of direct-to-consumer model, like in any way? So like I would say traditionally you guys have been like the facilitator between a manufacturer and like a brick and mortar retailer. Are you guys involving yourselves at all in a direct-to-consumer experience or in even the online retailer? Like are you, in terms of education, you're like, hey, from a retailer, here's how you run this business. Are you in any of those other areas that I mentioned?
We are not proponents of direct to consumer.
Okay.
And that's one of the challenges that we faced with adding the Archery and Bow Hunting Super Show to the back end of the trade show, is facing some criticism from retailers that we were advocating for direct to consumer. When we're not advocating for that at all. We are giving the manufacturers, and they've been asking for this for a while, we are giving them the opportunity to create consumer demand and drive those consumers to their bow shop to make the purchase. So whereas there will be some product sales at the Archery and Bow Hunting Super Show, there won't be bows and arrows and many of the major manufacturers that have established dealer networks. They will not be trying to sell around their dealers. They'll be trying to generate interest in their products and drive those consumers to their dealers, many times with added incentives. Saw it at the show, buy it at the shop, and get 10% off or whatever the incentive is. when it comes to the internet retailers, we do have a membership category for internet retailers. We do recognize that they have a position in the industry. And we are really trying to encourage retailers and promote programs for retailers so that they can continue to do well as a retailer without necessarily being so dependent on product sales. An example is our bow technician certification course.
Okay.
So much like an auto mechanic would be certified to work on your car, we now have courses for bow technicians to be certified in compound bows, crossbows, recurve bows. And that gives them much more credibility in their shop to be, an accredited bow technician, ATA bow technician. So, and if you're accredited, you've got that certification. Gives you a little more justification for the prices that you're charging for the work that you're doing, because there is an assumption of competence there, which is another challenge for a lot of retailers. They don't charge enough for their services,
Right.
Just because it's, the guy, it's a friend, it's, but your time is money.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we try to drive home to a lot of the retailers. And they're going to be more and more dependent on charging for their time in the future as the internet and direct to consumer puts more pressure on product sales.
That is cool. What does that certification process look like?
It's a substantial course. We've now licensed it out to some of the technical schools and community colleges.
Oh, wow.
But it's an online course. Each of those 3 modules is separate. Each one of them has a 15 to 17 segment online course. At the end of each segment, you have to take a quiz. You have to pass all of the quizzes or retake the segment. At the end of the online course, you have to, instead of sitting for an exam, you actually have to go to an in-person practical.
Mm-hmm.
So we have these around the country, and we have instructors doing 2 or 3 students at a time. And the student has to completely set up a bow and do some minor tuning on it, enough to put it in a customer's hands through the paper tuning process and get it out the door in a certain amount of time to do that, and with no assistance. And what we've seen is about half of the students in this course are new or relatively new to bow technician skills, working on a bow in any capacity, but there are people who want to get into the business.
Mm-hmm.
So we've seen this as a means to attract more people into the archery retail business than anything else.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Like if I compare it to like the trades, right? It seems like any year, you look at, we're always needing more plumbers and electricians and welders or whatever. I would assume just with the way that archery is and the way that pro shops have been, there's probably a lack of highly quality skilled archery technicians, I guess.
Oh, so number one concern for bow shop owners is finding qualified bow technicians. You can find somebody that knows about the bows, that can sell the bow. You can even find guys that are good enough to provide some instruction and coaching. But to find a skilled bow technician, that's one of their biggest challenges when it comes to hiring personnel. So this certification, and whereas it is certified in a certain level of competence, it is not certifying that bow technician has reached expert status yet. We will be coming out with an advanced course. Here will be our next offering. And a graduate of the advanced course might be able to start using some words like expert.
Mm-hmm.
It's the course for the guy that's been working in the bow shop as a bow tech for the last 20 years? Probably not, but we've had plenty of those guys come through the course and rave about how great it was from this perspective of showing them some different ways to do things that they've been doing the same old way for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So
are you seeing, I guess just kind of knowing how people are trying to evolve even personally, are you seeing guys who are like not bow shop technicians saying, hey, this is a course that I could take and just become better at tuning my own bow or my buddy's bow or whatever? Or are they primarily just like looking to be in the industry or for a job standpoint?
Well, that's a good point, because there is a certain percentage or a certain group who is kind of just has high level of mechanical skills, likes to work on their own stuff, does everything.
Yeah.
Their own plumbing, their own electrical, their own what works on their car. They're gonna and they just, they're not going to hand their bow over to somebody to work on. So they're set up in their basement or their garage. They work on their stuff and a few of their friends. Not really in the business of it, but have gone after that certification because they're self-taught,
right?
Otherwise, and this is their first really formal training as a bow tech.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that being a pretty big attractive piece. I mean, that's why guys like, Dudley and Knock On have done so well, is like, or T-Bone and his little dojo that he's working and stuff. Like they're doing that kind of DIY instructional type stuff for people to just understand their bows better and maybe be able to do their own stuff on it even.
Right.
The other thing that obviously on the news side is you guys have the Rushmore Rumble coming to as part, I guess describe that for me. Is it as part of the show or how is that set up?
Yeah. When we were trying to make the determination of, is this the year to move forward with the consumer element of the show? And, instead of just adding a day or two to the trade show and opening the door to consumers, I went to Bruce Call, who is head of the National Field Archery Association, puts on tournaments all around the country, most notably the Vegas shoot, and asked Bruce if he would be interested in bringing a shooting tournament into the Indy Convention Center, co-locate it with the show, so that we can capitalize on the two synergies of the event. And Bruce is a great showman when it comes to shooting tournaments. He was all over it right from the get-go. And what it meant for the show is that we were not starting with 0 attendees when we opened the door. We were starting with a couple thousand, because every shooter in the Rushmore Rumble is bringing one or two people with them.
Yep.
And then we kind of did the same thing with S3DA in bringing a youth tournament element into the show. And every shooter in the youth tournament is 3 or 4 people into the super show. So plus it brings that tournament and competition archery element into it. So it gives those folks a really good look at all the exhibitors who are mostly bow hunting oriented, but it gives the bow hunting attendees a chance to go over and watch the tournaments and hopefully it increases some participation in tournament shooting as well. Just exposes them to something they wouldn't otherwise be exposed to. I don't think anybody's if you're not shooting in a archery tournament, rarely are you just going to go watch.
Yeah.
Right? But here's an event that puts it right in front of you. And I think most of the attendees are going to spend some time watching the tournament. And I think all of the tournament shooters are going to be spending time on the show floor.
What does that look like from a participant side of things? Is that primarily like it's, your expert level shooters? Like I look at like the Dan McCarthy's and Levi Morgans and stuff of the world. Or is it division based? Like what would people expect for something like that?
So at the Rushmore Rumble, there are different classifications.
Okay.
So yeah, the pro shooters are going to be shooting against pro shooters, and there will be plenty of pro shooters there. The Rushmore Rumble, particularly this year, will attract some of the best shooters in the world, even coming in from other countries. So even though you might be shooting next to, on the shooting line, you might be right next to one of the best shooters in the world. You're not shooting against the best shooters in the world. There are many different classifications, but it is a money shoot. So the more participants that are in the tournament, the higher the payouts are for the different classes.
And so I assume there's like I don't know, an amateur or like a bow hunting or something entry level type thing. So like if people are listening to this, can they still sign up for something like that, or is the sign up passed already?
No, you can absolutely sign up for it. There's a hunter class.
Okay, so there you go.
Bring your setup, that you just had in the tree stand, and there's a hunter class for that setup, and there's many more classifications, but that class is specifically for that guy who identifies himself as more of a bow hunter than a competition or a tournament shooter, but wants to come shoot the tournament. We've got a place for them.
So can they register there, or does it have to be done before they get there?
They should register in advance because all of the flights have to be made up beforehand. And, whether it's information about the Archery and Bowhunting Super Show, the Rushmore Rumble, or the S3DA Indoor Open, anybody that's interested in any of those three events can get the information from atashow.com. Get all the show information and links out to Rushmore Rumble and S3DA.
Is there at the Rushmore Rumble, is there like a crossbow class for guys like Jeremy?
That's real funny.
Who identify as whatever, you can tell.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Is there a crossbow class at the
No,
Rushmore?
seriously.
Yeah, seriously.
I believe there is.
Yeah.
I believe there is.
I've heard that is a thing, right? Like they have competitive crossbow.
I know.
Yes,
I think ASA or something does. Okay. I'm pretty sure. That's like outdoor 3D.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not offered in all of the tournaments. It's not a mainstay yet, but
I'm trying to watch that.
Many of them have it.
I'd go to that one.
That'd be pretty funny to see. like everybody just shoots perfect at 20 yards.
You guys are amazing.
Well, Jeff, I mean, that is, and I'm trying to reflect back on like even 10 or 15 years ago. Like I would say that is probably the largest growing demographic of archery is crossbows. Is that, I don't know if there's actual factual data around that or not, but I mean, it seems like from the outside looking in, it would have to be.
Well, there definitely is from like an archery harvest statistics standpoint. We see that in almost every state that offers it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. In not all, but in just about every state, more and states that record it by type of bow, vertical bow and crossbow. More deer are taken with crossbow than vertical bow.
Substantially
in most
more.
of those states, right? Glad you brought that up because we ATA are getting ready to release a new study on crossbows. It'll be released in Indy at the show, and the results will be available there. It's a pretty lengthy study. It's been going on for the past year. It incorporates data from, I think, 12 different states.
Okay.
And we really are trying to, right now, when it comes to crossbows, as you guys well know, it's a contentious subject. So you either love them or you hate them, and you have your own reasons, but your reasons are based on what? So there's very little factual data out there and research out there. So who is the crossbow customer? Who's the potential crossbow customer? Do crossbows lead into compounds, or is it vice versa? What impact do crossbows have on game harvest and hence hunting regulations, length of open seasons, things like that, in states that allow crossbows? we have states that we have used the data from that have data from pre-Crossbow and post-Crossbow, so we can compare harvest data and impact on seasons beforehand. There's a lot of concern out there that too many deer are being taken with crossbows, and if it hasn't already, it's going to shorten the length of my archery season. And so, is that a legitimate concern? Is that factual? So that this study will get underneath of all of that.
Have you read the study, Jeff?
No, I haven't. The study is being compiled right now. Data's in. It's being compiled right now, and first week of January is scheduled for release. I'll have advanced copies about a week in advance. Right.
I know a guy who's got an advanced copy.
You guys are taking notes or take edits? Who's doing the study?
It's a Responsive Management is a company that has done for 30 years,
like an independent research company.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Third party, independent. These folks are very deep in the outdoor industry, not just in archery, but other outdoor sports as well. So they understand the culture. They have relationships with the state agencies, and have really been able to put together an impressive set of data to evaluate.
Interesting. And so did you guys pay for the survey, basically? Like, what prompted them to do that?
We put we presented the need for the survey and what we hope to accomplish with the survey. We put that into a grant application, and back to the Association of Fish and Wildlife agencies. So the study is actually funded by FET, federal excise tax dollars, that are paid on archery and firearms equipment. So it's sort of an industry funded study through this grant.
Okay.
But ATA put together all of the parameters, the questions, the data points that we wanted to reach, and I'm looking forward to the results as much as anybody.
Boy, it sure seems, as crazy as it seems, because we talk, not that we're just like contentious against crossbows necessarily, but we talk about their impact, and obviously, what it looks like from more of a, call it indirect observation side of things, or just even tidbits of statistics that get put out by state agencies. But this sure seems like something that people have been asking for a long time, maybe barking up the wrong tree, like maybe going to the state and saying, hey, we need this directly.
Well, I think in a lot of cases, like, not like I've ever sat down and read a full study, but just like the general, response that you get from state agencies, basically, it's like it's purely quantitative and rarely qualitative. So they'll just basically, like to the point you made earlier, they'll say, yeah, no, we introduced crossbows and
no statistical difference.
We're not killing any more deer. It's not this. And we're, meanwhile, we're all sitting here being like, okay, yeah, but why am I seeing way fewer mature deer? And why does it seem like every property is getting hunted way more than it used to? Those are the things that I think typically get overlooked by those surveys.
Well, that's true. And one of the major challenges is that every state establishes their own hunting rules and regulations. So you've got 50 different data sets to try to compare. And whereas in one state, the archery season might be early and only be a week long, and in another state it's late and it's 2 weeks long. And it's and you're trying to compare apples to apples. Yep. There's a lot of variables that go into it.
No doubt.
Sure.
And so it's hard to get a reliable end all set of data, because you can pick it apart if you really want to and say, but this and but that. So but this study should be the most comprehensive that's ever been done regarding crossbows.
Wow. Yeah, I'm trying to reflect. Like I used to go to Southeast Deer Association study group meeting that was done by 11 or 12 states around research projects, and There was one, I can't remember the exact state, but it basically dictated the use of crossbows on, I think it was like an Army depot type of thing, right? Like a secured draw type hunt, and the results that would happen by implementing that. And it talked about like wounding rates and things like that. But I guess to your point, Jeff, like because it's different data sets, I'll be interested to see like how apples to apples they can make some of the conclusions between state and state, just because of how data is collected or what one state keeps track of and another state doesn't keep track of. That'll be interesting because I know for Pennsylvania and I think for Ohio too, like if you check in a deer, it'll say, is it vertical bow or, crossbow basically. There's other ones that it'll just be like, archery, and you check it in. Like it doesn't dictate that.
Here's an interesting one from you, just a comment that our local bow shop made to me was, because I'm always like urging those guys to get out and hunt, and they're always like, they look like they haven't seen the woods in 5 years. I'm like, come on, guys, like this is why you got into it. You should go hunt. And they basically go like, well, we used to, like usually it used to be like guys would be coming in throughout the end of summer, early fall, we'd be getting their stuff set up, and then by the time November rolled around, everybody's hunting, so it's like we might get some time to sneak away there, and do some things. They're like, since, crossbows have been integrated into the archery seasons and they've become so much more popular, they're like, that's completely gone. They're like, people come in on November 5th and they're like, I want to go hunting today, like this afternoon. And so that opportunity for them has kind of like, dissolved or whatever. On the plus side, maybe they're selling a lot of product throughout the month of November, but they're like, that's just the change that they've noticed.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I've heard that, from many retailers, that is a change, with the proliferation of crossbows now and how it's impacted a retailer's selling seasons and selling cycles. And I would add to that the amount of service work that's done leading up to hunting seasons has increased significantly because, a crossbow goes through strings faster than a compound bow and needs to be restrung more often. But just by I'm going to make an assumption here now, but just by the same guy that came in a week before the season opened is the same guy that's coming in a week before the season opened to get new strings put on. So it is extending the retailer's selling seasons, but that's selling opportunity as well.
Oh, definitely.
But I'm like you. I hate to see these guys who got into the business, because of their passion for it, now have they've had to set that aside because it's become work.
Well, that's what I was going to say. At least going back to the archery tech side is like most of the guys that I know that own bow shops are like the lead technician. Like I look at Tim, he's one of the lead technicians at his own bow shop, right? It's not like he's running the business and he's got a really good archery tech underneath him. Like he owns the business and he is the service guy.
Yeah.
And that's got to be, I get it. It kind of like the whole direct to consumer thing. Like you're trying to make as much margin as possible being the service guy on top of selling the product. But there's also probably a trust issue there, I assume.
Oh,
just
100%.
Because of how things are done.
Yeah. Well, and I don't feel that bad for those guys, nor are they like asking us to, but it's just, industries change and then, and flagship products, kind of come and go. So, the moral of the story is like, if you want to have unlimited time to hunt, like don't get into a business that is peak season during the hunting season. That's just a reality,
Yeah.
The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Hoyt.
Should be no surprise to anyone listening to this that back with Hoyt another season. I'm actually going to be shooting the AX2 aluminum this year.
You traitor.
But you're still going RX9.
Yeah, blacked
carbon,
out as always.
Blacked out. Big surprise for everyone.
80 pounds. Big surprise. Yeah.
But seriously, man, it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. Every year it seems like we get a new Hoyt bow in our hands, and they're always a step above the last and just a step above everybody else.
Yeah, they're so consistent, man. Just their processes get better, every year. And we've really been excited about, as we've grown with Hoyt, we've brought some others in with us. We just feel like the Hoyt family is growing, like the community, and we're really excited about the people that are involved, excited to be a part of that company. And it's really awesome.
So for anyone that's excited about Hoyt like Jared and I are, you can use the code HUNTR, HUNTR, on Hoyt.com.
Get serious, get Hoyt.
I assume most of the I'm just not from. I assume most of the crossbow manufacturers kind of operate in the same way that like the vertical bow guys do, like in terms of dealerships and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would say so. You tend to find
probably better traction at big box.
I was going to say you tend to find particularly the lower priced models in abundance at the big box stores. So there, and there's nothing that's not a bad thing. I mean, the big box stores.
We're not trying to trick you into saying anything bad about Crossbow, Jeff. Just for the record.
No, we would just come right out and say it.
They've got Bowtechs as well, so you know, and I know we have put through a lot of the Bowtechs. I know Shields, for example.
Oh yeah,
just put through I think 30 of their Bowtechs through our certification course.
Oh wow!
So they're serious about offering good service.
Yeah,
in their stores. Just because they're a big box store doesn't mean they can't offer good service.
Because that historically was
Shields is legit, dude. I wish we had some of those around here.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Historically, that has been kind of the knock on the big box. It was like, you don't. I'm just going to pick on them because I don't think they sell it anymore, but you're not going to go buy your bow from Dick's Sporting Goods and then have the Dick's Sporting Goods guy set it up. Like you're not going to get a good result from that. Yeah. That was the historical thought process there. So to hear something, Shields takes their stuff really serious. And they have a great assortment of stuff, and it seems like they've got extremely good customer service. We just don't have any around where we're at right now.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, the model that they have is, you're right. It's serious. They take it serious. But I think the assumption also is that turnover is a little bit higher at the big box stores. Whether that's true or not,
right?
I don't know. But I think it is a strength for your local bow shop to have the presumption that they are going to offer the best service, the most knowledgeable bow techs, and they're going to be able to service your product the best. I mean, we want and need those guys to stay in business.
Yeah.
And again, service is going to play a major part of their profitability moving forward.
Definitely. I don't think our local bow shop is hurting for business at all. I mean, I think they're...
Yeah, it's been cool for us to go in and see those guys, and they're like, there are people that listen to this that maybe we're looking for a bow shop, and they're like, oh, Jared and Jeremy go there, I might as well go there too. And so, they pick up a new, and that's how, I mean, I went there because you're like, hey, I go there, and I'm like, okay, that sounds good.
Well, and I probably pushed you. I was like, you should go there.
Yeah, well, and I mean, that, again, from a reliability side, I think that's a big piece of it, is like, if you're in a new area or you're newer to it, it's like, I don't know where to go. What's a good one?
It's kind of crazy to think back on, Jeff. I've been going to the same bow shop for 20 years. Like, I'm 32 years old.
Yeah.
I've been going there since I was 12. I got my first bow there. Same guy sets it up. There's only two of them that work there. I think, like Jeremy said, there's a trust issue there, like for me with them, and also that like they won't hire anybody.
No.
I've asked them. They're like, we just don't trust anybody to set up our, and so they don't grow because of that. But I think they're just, they're satisfied, they're content with what they do, and they're really good at it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they have a profitable niche there that they've found, there's no reason to complicate that. But that is, we talk about community, that's it right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love it. I love going there. And even one of the guys, and they may listen to this, but one of the guys, he's not that like personable, like he's not that friendly of a guy, but it's like, it's okay. It's
I don't need
him to be.
Yeah,
like,
I'm not there to be friendly.
It's just like your barber, or it's like when you find somebody that like, I don't know if that's just like a guy thing. When you find somebody that works and they do they don't have to be nice to you. It's just like we have an understanding, and that's where I go.
Yeah, I mean,
he's my guy.
They set up, my kids got their first compounds this fall to shoot to get ready for next year. And so Tim set them up, and it's like, I trust him to set mine up. So I trust him to set his up, sets my dad's up too.
Yeah. I want him to be a little bit miserable. I want that vibe,
Well, we talk about education and running a retail shop. Being personable goes a long way. I remember these stories we used to tell, years ago with the gun shops were notorious for
the
guy sitting behind the counter on a stool with his arms crossed and a big scowl on his face, just daring you to ask him a question.
Just grunts at you like you don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Yeah. Is that new customer going to come back or not?
No, probably not.
So, I mean, the same thing applies to a degree with a archery pro shop as well.
Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, as much as things have changed, like a lot of those pro shops it almost feels like you step back in time a little bit on them, because it's like it's still just those guys and they're doing their service, and which is a cool feeling. Jeff, I guess going back on the research side of things, is that something that ATA does a lot? Like, have you guys done other research projects in the past?
Yeah, we try to do one or two through the grant process each year. And a lot of it is around increasing participation in archery and bow hunting, which is a main tenet of our mission, is to promote and increase participation. We, of course, serve manufacturers and retailers. Of course, one of the biggest ways we can serve them is to provide more customers.
Bring them more customers.
Any way we can. So, research into various groups and their tendencies and ways to increase participation is where most of our research comes from. We have a grant that this will be for next year's research project that blows the dust off of a study that was done back in 2001 on archery, the archery consumer. The journey from recreational shooting to veering off to competition or bow hunting or both. But it's a very comprehensive industry-wide study. It goes into sales channels and supply chain and that kind of thing. But it's a revision, a much needed 25-year-old revision of a major project that was done back in 2001 that we still get a lot of questions about. But the data, as you can imagine, from 2001 is really no longer useful.
Right. Because I think it was probably Greg Poole who kind of educated us on like the recreational archery side of things. Like, I guess I just
no relation, I assume.
Yeah, no relation. Yeah, Greg's like 6'8". But I guess I just didn't realize that like recreational archery was like that much bigger, especially than bow hunting.
Is that true? Can you confirm that? Are there more people who just shoot archery and don't bow hunt than bow hunt and also shoot archery?
Yeah. The latest numbers and the numbers that we're using puts it at about 3 to 1.
Wow. That's so crazy.
Yeah. The numbers we're using and for bow hunters, this would be active bow hunters in any given year, because, not people that identify themselves as a bow hunter, because if you bow hunted once in
mean crossbow
life,
guys,
you're a bow hunter, right? But if you actually bow hunted in the last 12 months, there's about 3.7 million in any given year.
3.7 million.
Right.
Okay.
On the recreational shooting side, so this would basically be all archery outside of bow hunting. If you're shooting at a target, as opposed to game, you are a recreational archer. It's about 9.7 million.
Wow.
Okay, exclusively on either end.
Yes.
So none of the people in that 3.7 million are included in the 9 million?
The 3.7 is just that classification. If you bow hunted within the last 12 months, you could also, if you did more than bow hunt, if you were also
like a 3D shooter, you'd appear in the other one.
Or just going to the club and shooting and
gotcha
events or competitive shooting.
Yep.
ASAs and IBOs and
so there could be overlap there, significant overlap potentially.
There can be, and I'm sure there is.
Overlap. Okay, gotcha. So it's probably like Did I tease that out right? It's probably, like you said, 1/3 of it is constituted by
give or take
by of all archers.
Mm-hmm.
And just for clarity, that does or does not include crossbows in either category.
It does.
It does.
Yeah.
ATA does recognize
Okay.
crossbows as
archery
equipment.
Do you think does that inclusion have a significant impact on what it would have been prior with just vertical bows, or about the same?
That I don't know. We'd have to go back and that might be a study for next year, but we'd have to go back and do a little.
Because I would assume that there's not a bunch of recreation shooters who are crossbow shooters.
That's what we thought about
only.
Well, that's what we thought about vertical bows, and we were wrong about that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's an assumption. I kind of look at that 3.7 million number, and I don't know if we're still using like the give or take 14 million hunters in the country number, but like, that really gives you a perspective of like how few bow hunters there are in the country.
I would say that's a lot if it's 14 million.
I mean, that's
4 million.
That's still a 3-to-1, 4-to-1 almost.
Well, yeah, which is expected.
Yeah.
I mean,
from a gun side.
Yeah. Let's see how many total hunters in America.
What's AI tell you?
14.4 million.
There you go.
In 2022.
Yeah, so about almost a 4-to-1.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. 3.5 to 1.
So a quarter of us are bow hunters, and that's including crossbows.
Yep.
So I bet it was significantly less before then.
Oh yeah.
Had been way less.
Way less.
I bet it was 1 million.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting to see that recreation side, because I think we talked to Greg about it, is like, obviously there's tournament shoots and competition. There's just 3D shoots. There's the scholastic side of things. Like when you start adding those up, I mean, you can kind of see, but it's just, I guess it's just from our background. It's funny to see like.
It's like, well, who are these people that just have bows? They're like, oh, I just shoot it. And I'm like, right, but.
At what?
Yeah.
Yeah, targets.
And they're out there.
Yeah.
3-to-1.
3-to-1, apparently.
We're outnumbered.
A lot more. Well, and I think that the, one of the things that we talk about on here a lot, Jeff, is the fact that, even as a hunting community, as much as we want to think that we're strong and unified even, Mike Rex was the one who told us from Ohio, but, the degradation of the American family really has led to a lot of the breakdown of influence from a hunting side. It was very family oriented. I would assume, like, is that how your bringing up was? Like, were you born into a hunting family, I guess?
Oh yeah, very much. Living the lifestyle of being able to walk out your back door and go fishing or shooting or ride your dirt bike or whatever it was, as long as there wasn't work to be done. And plinking around, pulling a trigger hundreds of thousands of times. I don't know. During your upbringing, definitely increases your familiarity with firearms. You're just no longer. It's very natural to have a firearm in your hand, and I'm old enough that when compound bows first came onto the scene, I mean, they really started coming in the 70s, but by the early 80s, they were. They were really starting to take hold, and of course by the early 90s, I mean, it was over.
Yeah.
But the compound, when compounds first started coming out, what it did for the archery industry in terms of increasing the number of participants was really industry changing. And so here we are in 2025, and some of the people that were founders of bow companies, today's compound bow companies are still with us. We have this sport that's thousands of years old, and we still refer to some of the people who are involved in it and leading companies today as founders.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just in an indication of how technology came into archery relatively late.
Yeah.
But what it's done for archery, and it went through a 30-year, 40-year time period where advancements were substantial year after year. we've kind of gotten to a point on the compound bow side where there definitely are improvements from year to year, but the advancements now are fewer and farther between because the technology is somewhat matured.
Right.
With compounds.
Yeah, it's like how far are you going to go? I would assume that, if you looked at the numbers, you think we would see a similar like participation advancement from, call it your stick bows to compounds as we saw from compounds to the introduction of crossbows?
Well, interesting question because, when compounds were coming onto the scene, who do you think was the biggest opponent?
Oh, I'm sure it was the archery guys, the stick bow guys.
The stick bow guys, the trad guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they were screaming bloody murder. This isn't archery. This is, unfair advantage, so on.
Mm-hmm.
Really very similar arguments being made now towards the crossbow. I think the difference is that the compounds they're so much more advanced now. I'm not going to say that a crossbow is not super accurate and have better, maybe increased range and all that. So there is an inherent advantage there with the crossbow, and there is more practice and skill. I don't think anybody would argue that needed to be proficient with a compound, but yet compounds are still so far advanced. They still are capable of shooting so accurately and so well that I don't think that we're going to see crossbows really cannibalize compound bow sales the way maybe
that's a good point
did on the trad side.
And I think just to the emotional pull of
if anything, it cannibalized gun hunters.
I think that's exactly where it did it. Yeah, absolutely. Because I guess I just wonder from a numbers standpoint, this is just, assumptions or hypothetically, it's like, did you have 500,000 trad guys that then turned into 2 million bow hunters when compounds came in? And do we have 2 million, archery guys now that turned into 3.5 million, when crossbow guys came in? Just from a growth of the segment side of things. Because, I don't, to the numbers, and I guess we'll find out here, when this study gets released in January, but, we all can easily see that there's a significant portion of the harvest that's attributed to crossbows now. I would assume that some of that is cannibalization of guys moving from compounds to crossbows. But to your point, I'd say most of it is new archery guys coming in from the gun seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so the question then becomes, if you went from firearm to crossbow, did you continue to migrate over to a compound? Is that an avenue that we're actually?
I would be really interested. My assumption is no, that that they don't, but I don't know.
I think there's got to be some. Even it was Greg that was mentioned a statistic like that, was that it is a recruiter of.
Maybe.
Because then they get into circles like us, and then we make fun of them enough until they, pick up a real bow. But
yeah, possibly.
So that's I'm sure that happens.
Well, it's just it's such an interesting. We joke about the crossbow thing a lot, Jeff, but it's like, a lot of the guys that, and it's weird because they get very defensive of it, and it's like, well, I've got such shoulder issues, I couldn't, and I'm like, you could have went and got a medical excuse before this. Like, you've always could shoot one if you have a shoulder issue or whatever, as long as your doctor signs off on it. It's just a weird conversation to have, and it's not like picking at them at all. I'm just curious to what. Well, I get that if it's purely like, and this would be the obvious thing. It's like, well, yeah, I'm going to shoot a crossbow. I have X amount more time to hunt. In some states like Illinois, it's like you get to hold another tag
100%
on top of the gun tag. So it's like, no brainer. Why wouldn't you do it?
Why wouldn't you? It's literally, there's every incentive to do it. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's the thing that's interesting with just hunting in general, is like, we're hunting, in the case of white-tailed deer, it's like it's a limited resource, any way you spin it. So unlike a sport where I would genuinely agree, like, there can't be too many people playing soccer. Like, it can only help the sport. It's different with hunting, where you can overutilize the resource. And so, and in fact, there's, two primary resources. One would be the animals on the landscape, and 2 would be the landscape itself. You know, so you can
access.
You can literally have too many people based on how they're allowed to access those resources. It can get overutilized. You know, and those are the things that I think are interesting from a research, like a study standpoint, that are maybe a little separate from just archery itself. There's a lot more at play than just bows and crossbows. You know, you have cell cams, all these other things. You know.
Yeah. Access is a whole different, the area to. We could do a show on just access issues, particularly out west.
Yeah.
But yeah, point is taken, because are we that concerned that there are more people shooting archery equipment, whether it be compounds or crossbows, or because I think if you consider crossbows archery equipment, which ATA does, then that 3.7 million bow hunters, to the question that was asked earlier, prior to the proliferation of crossbows, what was that number? So we've increased the number of guys interested in archery. Much to the same way that the compounds did when they first came onto the scene. Yeah. So I'm not sure how many trad guys converted over to compounds.
A lot of them, I bet.
The day.
I would assume a lot.
Or compounds were the means to bring new people into the sport. Which is kind of what crossbows are doing right now, whether it be the gun guy or what. But one of the things that's difficult to argue about with the crossbow is how it's able to extend hunting opportunities for a lot of people who would otherwise not go in the woods and not go hunt any longer because they can't pull their bow back, or they're not comfortable with doing that, with risking injury or something of that nature. So they get they get more time, more years out in the woods.
Well, that's to Jeremy's point. Like, that's always been an option, though. That was prior to the inclusion of it in the regular archery season.
Well, I would be interested, and I don't know if it's in the research or as part of a stat, but like there are plenty of like hardcore compound guys that I know from like the 80s and 90s coming out, like that wouldn't have been caught dead shooting a crossbow. And so did those guys just like stop hunting? Did they, you know what I mean? Did they just stop archery hunting or stop hunting in general when they couldn't shoot a compound anymore? I don't know. That's, I guess, a rhetorical question.
I hope not. And to clarify, like,
because what did they do then? They definitely, it's that old school mentality is what I'm saying. Like, I think of like, not necessarily guys like my dad, but it would have been the generation before that who were shooting wheeled, wooden bare bows, basically, because it was the first iterations of compound, and they married to it, right? They were hardcore bow hunters. They didn't hardly even gun hunt because they were such hardcore bow hunters. At some point, their body breaks down, and they can't use a compound anymore. My guess is a lot of those guys just quit hunting.
They might have.
They just hung it up. Yeah. Versus convert to a compound or a crossbow to continue.
Which, honestly, I wonder, how many years does a crossbow really buy you?
Think about this too, and Jeff, I don't know if this is like a actual statistic, but like crossbows as we know them the last 5 years are relatively new. Like I remember Excalibur with like the recurve limbs, 15 plus years ago. Like that was the only crossbow I even knew of, and I was like, yeah, nobody shoots that thing.
I think it's honestly a super small group of people. The people who were at that exact right period in time where they bow hunted and then were aging out of the sport, and then crossbows were at a point and or were legalized that they then took that over to to get them another 3 to 5 years kind of a thing. Because the thing is probably, see, and I don't know, I'm curious about this, is like, is it a shoulder thing? Like, is it a joint thing? Or I would say probably more commonly it's an eyesight thing. In which case a crossbow is not going to do anything for you. It's
scope.
Just, I mean, it's not going to do anything for you.
I mean, a scope would.
Is a scope easier to?
If I'm nearsighted, right? I can't see far. I would use a scope to magnify that.
Yeah, but if you can't see the thing you're shooting at, that's far away.
You can through the scope.
Oh, well, I don't know. I don't know if a scope. Jeff, what do you think? Does a scope offer a true advantage to somebody whose eyesight is failing?
Yeah, I would think it does. But on the compound side, you can
use a magnifier.
Yeah, the verifier peep we were just talking about with our dads. We're like, hey, as your eyesight starts to go, there's these verifier peeps.
I assume those are newer too, but
maybe, I don't know. The HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Beast Broadheads.
Dude, Beast Broadheads. Man, we've been advocating for and shooting expandable, especially big expandable broadheads for years and years now. And it just seems like they just keep making them better and better. And ultimately, with the relationship we've forged with the Bowmars this past year, we're just super excited to be shooting the Beast Broadheads this year.
I mean, this broadhead it's the world's sharpest expandable broadhead out there. It has best penetration, and it's got bone avoiding technology. Ultimately, we want to create the most trauma possible on a deer when we release an arrow. The Beast Broadhead does that for us every time.
So right now you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR, for a discount on anything on the Beast website. So definitely go check out beastbroadheads.com.
It's an interesting discussion when you get into that because, yeah, I think at the end of the day, I guess, and we've talked about it here, like I don't really care what you're using in archery unless there is, and this data should tell us, is there a detriment to the resource? To your point,
I don't think it will. I don't think that's what this is targeted at.
Well, wouldn't it? Like if they're significantly killing more deer because of compounds, that would be an issue.
It will tell you that quantitative statistic.
Well, that would be an issue to the resource. Now the landscape
I don't
know.
My prediction on that is I don't think that they are killing any more deer with crossbows. I think and we talked about this before, I think the primary detriment, if there was one to be measured, it would be time of field, which I think has a direct
access.
Yeah, implication on access.
Which is qualitative,
which I think, other than aging out of the sport, is probably the primary reason we have people leaving the sport.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there. I mean, trying to find a place to hunt these days.
That's the hardest part.
It's very problematic for a lot of people.
Yeah. It would absolutely be, whether you're new into it, the reason you don't stick with it, or if you've been in it and you get displaced, the reason you leave is probably access is the number one, or access / experience with that. We talked about that, getting displaced to public land, and it's like, out west is different, but obviously like public land in the Midwest and East getting overrun, that's a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, let's wrap up with this, Jeff. So I guess as the CEO, I'm curious.
That was a tough conversation.
It was great.
You handled that really well.
It was good. Yeah, it was good.
Well, that remains to be seen. We'll see what kind of response
multiple clarifications that ATA classifies crossbows as archery gear. So I think you got the point across.
Got it.
Well, I guess just like as the CEO, I'm curious to like what your projection or expectation is for the Archery and Bow Hunting Super Show, right? We've got 2 days of the trade show, and then the 9th and 10th, doors open to the public. Like, what do you think? What do you think it's going to be like? You and I've had the discussion, I guess, off record of you're very much thinking that people are going to be at the door to buy tickets. Like, we almost won't have an indicator of the size of the crowd until almost the day of. And that's, I guess, your experience from the Great American Outdoor Show, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'm pretty pleased right now with where we stand on ticket sales.
Me too.
We're 4 weeks out, and ticket sales are looking pretty strong. Why is somebody buying a ticket to a show that, there's no reserve seating, there's no limited capacity?
We told them to.
Yeah, that's right. They're buying a ticket 4 weeks out. Those are really serious bow hunters and archery guys, and a lot of 2-day tickets. So a lot of guys planning to stay for more than 1 day. The manufacturers have been asking for this for so long. We've been surveying on it and seeing the numbers increase year over year. In both retailers and manufacturers, and their acceptance of a couple of days for consumers. Again, since COVID, the popularity of consumer events has really taken off. We in the archery world, there's no better example than the TAC events.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And so I think there's more of a desire for manufacturers to be in front of consumers these days than there was 10 years ago.
Agreed.
So I think giving the manufacturers an opportunity to get the business and the trade, their orders written, their relationships solidified with their retailers, their networking in the front half of the week, and bringing consumers in for the second half of the week for not only the show, but the 2 archery tournaments that are going on, and the type of show that it is. There's really no other show in the archery world like it.
Yeah.
You can go to some hunting and fishing shows and even the great TAC events, and they have vendors, but they're set up for those events. These are trade show quality displays, carpeted aisles, hanging signs, a lot of decoration all around. There's a serious wow factor when consumers walk onto the show floor and see this. I think from my experiences that the end result is going to be very, very positive for the manufacturers. I think the retailers will understand the concept after the show as more and more people walk into their shops, particularly within a couple 100 miles of Indianapolis.
Right.
Even months, 6 months, 8 months from now, and say, yeah, I saw that at the Archery and Bowhunting Super Show, and they're in there to buy it.
Yeah.
So that's creating the consumer demand that the manufacturers want in there. But I can tell you from my experience with the Great American Outdoor Show, the first year that we ran that show, we were projecting 150,000 attendance at that 9-day show. That's a beast.
Oh yeah, it's in our backyard basically. It's whatever 2.5 hours away from here. We go all the time.
So the first year we had it about a week out, we had online ticket sales totaled about 1,500.
Oh boy.
And you talk about sweating bullets.
I bet, man.
We thought, what have we done wrong here?
Yeah.
And what we learned was the vast majority of people don't buy their tickets until the night before.
Yeah.
Or 2 nights before.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to.
Right.
So why wouldn't they? And particularly in Indy and in January, monitoring what the weather is going to be like and which day you want to go and who can go on this day with you and who can go on that day with you. Those are all last minute decisions.
Yep.
So, what I'm happy to report that our ticket sales are very strong right now. And if they remain as strong as they are getting into that last couple of days before the show,
yeah, you'd be in good shape.
Attendance numbers should be pretty good.
Well, I assume there is a capacity, right? Like, is there like what?
We'll cap it when we get there.
Well, yeah. We're not going to reach capacity there. I've done a show in that building with the NRA show at the Indiana Convention Center, and doing about 30,000 per day in there. It can handle that just fine. So we won't reach that.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to.
Well, I know one of the discussions that we had even going into this, having conversations about the show is, and I guess it's if I had an expectation was, I know how exciting the show is from like an exclusivity to an industry person, like even being there and, for 15 years or whatever. My hope is that the serious guys, the serious bow hunters, the serious archery mindset guys, which a lot of our audience listen to this is just because we're typically a bow hunting show. That's just what we are. Would be the ones who would pounce on tickets early. Knowing that it's like to your point about like a lot of people buying 2 days, like this is their chance to be part of the industry, right? For 2 days. They've never had an opportunity to do. And that's how we look at it when we get there. It's like, this is our industry. This is our industry. We get to be there. We get to network. We get to be around people. And so the hope was, as people heard about this and saw this as an opportunity, that if they were to pounce early, it's because those are the serious guys. And I really think those are the ones that the manufacturers hope walks through the door, right? No knock to like a Great American Outdoor Show or anything, but you get a lot of tire kickers coming through there that are grabbing stickers and, eating corn dogs.
For the kettle corn, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas, like, I think for this, a lot of these guys coming in the door, like, they're coming with full backpacks. They're coming with their bow set up. They may be shooting the hunter division of the Rush. Like, this is a weekend event that they're taking and fully embracing.
Yeah, and I think everybody's going to be a first time visitor to the show on the consumer side. So be ready to take advantage of the opportunities that are there. Those exhibitors that are set up, even the major bow companies and other accessory companies in the industry, the president of the company, the founder of the company, the design engineers are going to be in the booth to talk to and meet. The people in the aisles that are shooting in the tournament are going to be some of the best shooters in the world that you can talk to. We have seminars going on right on the show floor that are given by some of the top shooters in the world, the top hunters in the world, kind of under a quick 20 or 30-minute pro tip kind of a category. Sit down and listen to your favorite hunter, your favorite shooter. The other folks that you'll see around the show from influencers to even some of the outdoor celebs will be at the show, cruising up and down the aisles. The shooting lanes, you don't just get to look at the bow in the exhibitor's booth. You get to take it over on the shooting lane and try it out.
Yeah.
And you don't just see the 3 or 4 models that you might see in your local bow shop. You see the full line.
The full line.
Yeah. Everything they got is going to be there. So, lot to see, lot to do. One day, can you do it in one day? Yeah. But if you're going to do it in 2 days, to your point earlier, I would recommend going ahead and buying those tickets and booking that hotel room, which you can also do from atashow.com to make sure, because the hotels will sell out.
Yeah, those will fill up. We've seen that. Yeah.
So I'd make arrangements now to do that.
Well, I know, just to plug on us, I talked to Tristan the last couple of days. We're actually gonna quote host kind of a whitetail bow hunting Q&A on Saturday, which I think is the 9th at 10 a.m. We've got an hour block in one of the rooms that Jared and I will be there. We're going to have Cody DeQuisto, probably Ben Rising, and maybe a couple other guys on basically like a bow hunting whitetail panel that we're going to set up. So that'll be a cool thing. Obviously, no additional charge. Like if you're at the show, you get to come in and sit down and chat with us and ask questions. And Jared and I will be there for the full 4 days. So even in the evenings, we may end up doing something at, one of the restaurants or bars or whatever too, just as a hangout. And, yeah. So I've
never seen so many fully grown men weather such severe hangovers as I have at ATA. It's honestly,
it's impressive.
As a late 20s guy, seeing guys in the 40s, I'm like, I don't know how you're doing it. I was barely hanging in.
Jared almost bled out on the floor.
I was having
year.
When
was that? That was in Louisville, I think. Yeah,
I had a sinus infection, and we were drinking a lot, and I was taking Afrin, so I had blood thinners in me, and I was there
was a blood trail.
I was near death. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, it was a bad nosebleed if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, I'm a veteran status now, though. I've been around. It took me 10 years to figure it out.
You've matured at this point.
Matured a little bit, yeah.
But it is a cool thing. I know, just even in the last couple years for us being there, being able to walk around, a lot of the listeners on this, we get to meet and talk to for the first time. And we're just average guys out there. We want to hear about your hunting and just, shoot the shit essentially for a couple days. And so, it'll be fun, man. We're looking forward to it. The other kind of exciting part about that is I just was looking at the floor plan is packed. It's full.
Yeah.
Which is cool to see, not just, again, as that recovery came from COVID, if you've been to the show before COVID, you remember what it looked like. And so that recovery after COVID, but this year, that's a packed floor.
Yeah, it is. We do have a couple of companies that we want in the show that are not in the show right now. Some of the major bow companies, specifically Matthews and Hoyt. And I think, once they see what the event is all about, the fact that this week-long event brings together the trade, it brings together the end user, whether you're a recreational shooter, a competitor, or a bow hunter. There's shooting events for youth and for some of the world's best shooters. I think we've covered all the bases here, and we've got 6 days worth of events going on. It's 6 events over 6 days. We've been talking about those events specifically on the consumer side. But we've got 3 other events specifically for the trade side. So, if you talk about community, there is something here in the 6 days for the entire archery community, no matter which side of it you're on.
Yep, for sure. Well, I guess anyway, listening to this, atashow.com will get you started in terms of narrowing where you need to go for the Archery and Bow Hunting Super Show tickets from the public side. There's probably a bunch of guys listening to this that are going to be there with exhibitors or with manufacturers as well. So like I said, we plan on being there for the trade show side as well as for the expo or the bow hunting super show side as well. And Jeff, we appreciate you coming on, man. We look forward to seeing you here in a few short weeks and look forward to being part of the show.
Yeah, thanks guys. Thanks for having me and look forward to seeing you in Indy.
HUNTR Podcast is brought to you by Lone Wolf Custom Gear.
Man, those Lone Wolf stands have become such a cornerstone of our equipment over, recently, but also we've been using these stands for a long time, even the original Lone Wolves. They're all built right here in the United States. The lines just keep getting better and better. Cody and Andre and the whole team just keep innovating and introducing new stuff into the line this year. And they've got some new things coming this year. Yeah,
so this year we've got the Patriot Series, which, a lot of people are talking about this as being the cheaper, just fixed position side of things. But let's be honest, they can be mobile too, right? They weigh 12 pounds. But they're built from a value standpoint. So for guys like us who want to have 3, 4, 5 preset stands out there for certain wins, we can put this Patriot Series out there, have them ready. Nothing better than slipping up into one of these fixed position stands that's already set on the right wind.
No doubt. And so this year, as of right now, you can use code HUNTR, HUNTR. It's a one-time use promo code. Gets you 10% off anything on the Lone Wolf Custom Gear website. That's any of the custom gear stuff, any of the Patriot Series. So whether you're planning on getting into one for the first time or you want to stack a big order here before the season, code HUNTR will get you 10% off.
Hunt like a wolf. ATA, Jeff Poole.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's fun. There was a lot of people. So we've been, I would say, we've probably talked about the ATA. Well, it wasn't 2021. I think it was 2022 where we did podcasts at ATA. Yeah. We brought the booth. We set it all up. Yeah. It was kind of weird and inadvertent because I think I had booked the space for Stone Road and Deer Grow or something like that. And then I was like, I don't know if we're going to take the team. And then you and I were going.
Boy, those are our early days.
But we had we had seats, futons out.
I remember. You could just sit down and
we had a cooler of beer.
Yeah.
And so we talked to a bunch of people. In fact, some of those are some of our highest watched podcasts. Yeah. With Sturgis. We talked to Forrest Carter from Carter Releases and stuff.
We talked to what's his name? The Texas guy. The Ranch Ferry guy.
Oh, Ranch Ferry. Yeah, and Daryl, Rocket Man.
And Daryl. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so there was just, we had a bunch of conversations and they did really well. And it was a cool atmosphere. That was the first, obviously podcast has grown from there. Notoriety has grown from there. But it was cool to see people there. And for the first time, people were like, oh man, I watched the podcast. And we're like, really? That's interesting.
Yeah. I love the consumer shows. It's a lot of fun to just run into people that are.
Yeah, and so I'm excited about this because we'll have the first 2 days. We'll just kind of be we'll be there with our partners and trade show stuff, and we'll still see a bunch of that. We'll see Mick and all these guys there, and then I don't know what to expect for the consumer side. It was funny when we went to Iowa Deer Classic. We're just walking through the aisles with pounders, and people are like, Jared and Jeremy,
it's really funny because some of you guys think, I'm talking to you listeners,
I'm talking to you.
Some of you guys think that we're famous or something. It's just dude, we just put our stuff on YouTube for 5. We're nobody. We just have opinions and we just record it and put it on YouTube. And
so if you think you see us just walking around with beers, it's probably us.
Yeah, just bump into us and be like, "Go out of my way, bro."
Yeah, what are you doing? Do you even lift, bro? Yeah. So, anyways, it'll be fun. So, I do know just because Jeff told us after the podcast. There are still some VIP tickets. So if you're coming for 2 days, I think you get a hotel room and you get free parking. So if you guys look at that, and it comes with 2 passes as well. So if it's you and a buddy or you and your wife or whatever coming. So check that out. That is limited. I know that there is a cap on the VIP tickets. I don't know how many are left.
Did you book our hotel room yet, by the way? We should probably do that before this airs.
We do need to do that. Mm-hmm. And then also, I don't know. Jared and I have talked about like doing something one of the nights of like, we're going to be at a bar, come hang out type of thing. I don't know if that could get out of control.
Yeah, maybe we don't do that.
I don't know if that could get out of control or not.
We'll just see how it goes.
There's a chance that you might see. I would say we'll do it impromptu. There's a chance
you
might see.
Are we supposed to be at a booth, or we'll just be bouncing around between our?
Yeah, we're gonna go. No partners: Predator, Primus, Bushnell, Lone Wolf, maybe Antler Creek.
So expect us, find us there or in the hallways, like just around.
Yeah, and then maybe there's an impromptu story that we're at some bar. If you can find us, like a Where's Waldo. Jeremy
will make it. Too many bourbons in. It'll be like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get out of here. But
yeah, gotta go to bed. I go to bed early too.
Mm-hmm.
And no more of those days. I don't walk in with the hangover anymore. I'm too old for that shit.
Is anywhere we got kicked out of where they had the bowl?
No, that was Louisville. That was 4th Street.
That was fun.
Yeah,
that was a fun night.
That's when I told the security guard to fuck off because I was vaping. I think
we
inside.
all did. Yeah.
I don't vape either, which was odd.
Yeah, that was odd. You're like, I don't even smoke. They're like, well, that's not tobacco.
But you are doing that in here. Yeah. You can't do that in here. No, that was 4th Street Live in Louisville. That was fun. Anyways, hopefully we'll see you guys there a couple weeks. January 9th and 10th is the Archery and Bowhunting Super Show.
Indiana's got the PF Chang's, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, the PF Chang's.
Oh, we crushed that.
It's got the Ruth's Chris
Steakhouse. Had that, where was that place that we went to last year that was really good? We ran into like the Scent Lock guys and stuff. That sports bar had really good food. I can't remember.
It's not standing out to me. I remember running into them, but.
Yeah. But anyways, we'll be there for the duration.
Does it have the Spaghetti House? Is that Indiana?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
What's the place we went bowling? And remember Donnie Vincent was there at the...
That's the one I got kicked out for vaping in.
No, it's not.
You sure?
Yeah. That was, we were bowling, remember? Well, oh, yeah.
No, that was the one I got kicked out for vaping.
Okay. I was thinking of the place with on 4th Street with I think we kicked out of both of those places.
The PBR place.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got kicked out of that one too.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't want to come hang
that's
out
old.
with us.
That's old time ATA.
That's old time us. Yeah,
I
we're too old for that
wonder.
Shit.
Yeah, it might be interesting street crowd this year with
a lot of homeless.
No, I just mean with with being open to the public, like.
Yeah.
Because it was already kind of like running rampant with just industry people.
Yeah.
I wonder, you open that up to the public.
It's going to get wild, man.
It could get kind of wild.
Yeah, Brick killed a guy.
I saw that.
It'll be fun. So hopefully you guys come. It'll be a cool show. Awesome to be part of the industry. Excited for it. It kind of, I won't go too far. Kind of feels little old ATA vibes, which is exciting to be able to maybe walk into. So, and then obviously we got our little seminar that we're going to do with Rising and DeQuisto and those guys on Saturday. So anyways, we appreciate you guys listening to episode 295 with Jeff Poole from the Archery Trade Association, and we will catch you on the next one.
Later.
Take me